Hello students and welcome back to the class. Today we will be continuing with our topic on the capacity of parties. In the last class we were discussing about the minors agreements and we have already discussed a few points on this. So we'll be taking it forth from here. The last point that we discussed was no ratification on attaining the age of majority. Now we move on to our next point, which is about the minors' liability for the necessaries supplied to them. Now herein section 68 of the Indian Contract Act is applicable, and this section 68 is applicable to any person who is incompetent to contract. So whether we talk about the minors or we talk about the person who is of unsound mind, the same section will be applicable to both of them. What does this section says? That if there is a minor or there is a person of unsound mind and somebody supplies some necessary items to them or to anyone who is dependent on this minor person or on the person of unsound mind. So maybe there is a person of unsound mind and is having a dependent sister, younger brother or somebody else who are also dependent on them, and a third party supplies some necessary items to them, right? The necessities have also been defined. So if any such item is provided to them, then in that case this third party can recover the amount spent on these necessities from the property of the minor or the person of unsound mind, basically the person who is incompetent to contract. So what are we saying here? I'm just repeating it in one sentence, that if any person who is incompetent to contract is, or a person dependent on them, is supplied with some necessary items by a third party, then this third party can recover the amount of these necessary supplied from the property, from the estate of this particular person incompetent to contract. So herein we are talking specifically about minors. So if we talk about the minors, herein also you would see that the minor personally is not responsible for paying back. This third party who has supplied the necessary items can only recover the money from the property, from the estate, from the belongings which this minor is having. Minor will not be held personally responsible for any such payment. The definition of necessities, as I said, that it has been defined, it is not given in the act because the definition of the necessities can differ from person to person depending upon their social status. So what is done is it is decided on case to case basis. However, certain points have come up through the various judicial pronouncements which are now taken as to be necessaries in all the cases. So the basic items that are required for the maintenance of life, food, clothing, shelter, medicines, any funeral expenses of the deceased family member of such incompetent person who cannot enter into a contract, for any payment made for education and training of the minor, marriage of a female member in the family who is dependent on the minor, any legal expenses which are to be paid for the minor, all these have already been held to be necessaries by the court in their various cases, and it is not an exhaustive list. It can change from person to person depending upon what is the social status of that person, what are the belongings of that person, what is the estate or the property of that person. Then the next point is no estoppel applies in case of the minors. Now the word estoppel means that if you from your own words, acts or deeds have established something about yourself or about the case, you cannot go back on it. So basically if I have said something about my property, later on the law stops me from going back on that. I cannot say कि मैंने ये नहीं कहा, yeah, this is not true, because I have myself established that fact. But in case of minors, this does not apply. It means what? That even if, say, the minor entered into a contract by misrepresenting his age, he can still go to the court and plead minority, right? And still would not be sued for the fraud. So a minor is there who has himself said that no, I am not a minor, I have attained the age of majority, so has fraudulently represented his age, but later on he can still go to the court and can file a case and can plead that no, I am a minor, so I could not have entered into this contract, and still he would not be sued for the fraud. So this is no estoppel. This is the case law, Leslie versus Shale of 1914, wherein Shale was a minor and he misrepresented his age to borrow certain money from Leslie. Now later on he refused to pay back, so a case was filed. Herein it was held by the court that the contract is void ab initio because it has been entered with a minor, and S is not liable, Shale is not liable for paying back the money. However, it was also observed that if minor is still in possession of any property in specific obtained by his fraud, then it should be restored back to the former owner, but he cannot be made to repay the spent money. The point which we already discussed in the last class, that if in this case, because you would see that the minor is a defendant, minor is not a plaintiff. So in this case, court would order that if the minor has taken any money, any property, then whatever is the unspent amount left, which is still in the possession of the minor, that can be taken back from him and given back to the original person. So restitution can be there for that much part, but something that he has already spent out, you cannot take it back. So herein, although Shale has misrepresented his age, but still he is pleading minority, and because of pleading minority, the fraud case is not being taken on him. The next point is, can minor be a partner in a company? So on the face of it, no, a minor cannot be a partner in a partnership firm. However, if all the partners agree, right, if all the other partners they agree, then they can enter a minor into partnership, but such minor will have share only in the profits of the company. So if the company is having any losses, then minor will not have any share in it. He won't have any capital contribution. He can just be entered into as a partner for sharing the profits of the company. Now, what would happen when such a minor partner attains the age of majority? So, person when he was a minor was entered into a partnership firm for having a share only in the profits of the firm. As soon as this person attains 18 years of age, that is the age of majority, he will have an option that either he wants to continue as a partner or he wants to leave the firm. This option will be open to him for 6 months after attaining the age of majority. As soon as this 6 months expire, right, and if no decision has been made by him, उन्होंने नहीं कहा कि मुझे फर्म छोड़ के जाना है या कंटिन्यू करना है, कुछ भी नहीं कहा है, then in that case automatically he will become a partner by default. So which means what? That if this person after attaining age of majority, because till then he was having share only in profits, but now after attaining age of majority, he will be having partnership in profits as well as losses. So if this person wants to leave the partnership, it has to be decided within 6 months from attaining the age of majority. Otherwise, if you do not decide anything, then automatically you become a partner. You will have to continue as a partner. Then is about the limited liability partnership, which is a new form of partnership. It has a separate act, LLP Act. This act is silent about the minors, so there is no provision which says that you can admit minor to the benefit of partnership. Simple partnership, when is there, when the Partnership Act is talked about, it says and it agrees that minor can be entered as a partner only for the sharing in profits. But LLP Act, the Limited Liability Partnership Act, it does not say anything. So we assume that the minors cannot be entered into limited liability partnership even for the share in profits. Can minor be appointed as an agent? Basically, what is a principal-agent relationship? The person who appoints an agent is known as the principal, and the principal is bound by all the acts that the agent is doing. So if the minor is appointed as an agent, he can be appointed, he or she can be appointed as an agent, but it is a very risky affair, because when you are appointing minor as an agent, as a principal, you would be responsible for his or her deeds. And you cannot sue him or her because he or she is a minor. तो आपको तो sue करेंगे लोग माइनर के किसी भी एक्ट के लिए बिकॉज आपने उन्हें अपना एजेंट रखा है, लेकिन आप एजेंट को वापस से sue नहीं कर सकते हो. So it's a very risky thing, although the law does not stop you from appointing minor as your agent. If the minor represents you somewhere, it is fine with the law, but ultimately you are responsible for the minor's deeds. So it is not advisable to have minor as an agent. Minor cannot be adjudged as insolvent क्योंकि minor कहीं पर भी personally liable है ही नहीं किसी चीज के लिए. Even हमने देखा जब somebody is supplying necessary items to them, then also minor is not personally liable. सिर्फ उनकी property, उनका estate से आप पैसा ले सकते हैं for supplying those necessaries. तो वहां पर भी जब minor personally liable नहीं है तो यहाँ पर कहीं पर भी liability नहीं आती है minors की. You cannot sue them, so you cannot adjudge them as insolvent. What would happen if a contract is entered by a minor along with an adult? So in this case, obviously minor does not have any liability. So whatever is the contract in totality, the adult with whom the minor is entering into that contract would be responsible and it can be enforced against that adult. Shareholders, can the minors hold shares in the company? So the allotment of shares is not done to the minors, but yes, if there are fully paid up shares, something on which the entire amount has been paid, then through the guardian, the minor can become a shareholder. So guardian's name would be there, and with that the minor can be given the shares, but only the fully paid up shares. The basic reason behind this is that if it is a fully paid up share, everything has been paid on that share, all the calls on that shares have been paid up, then no liability is there. So basically you cannot hold minors responsible for any liability, but if minor is having any advantage, if the minor is having any benefit, then that contract can be entered into. So if there are fully paid up shares, minor would be having a benefit because he's the shareholder in the company and will be getting all his rights as shareholders, will have a share in profits and everything, but will not have any liability क्योंकि payment share पे पूरी हो चुकी है, इसलिए minors can enter as shareholders with fully paid up shares. Now what is the position of minors' parents? The parents are not responsible for the agreement that is being made by minor until and unless the child is representing his parents as the agent of parents. जब तक ऐसा एजेंट प्रिंसिपल वाला कोई रिलेशनशिप एस्टैब्लिश नहीं हो पाता है, तब तक आप ये नहीं कह सकते हो कि माइनर ने कुछ गलत कर दिया तो अब हम माइनर को तो स्यू कर नहीं सकते, तो हम उसके पेरेंट्स को स्यू कर दें. यू कैन नॉट डू दैट. Now what would be the liability in torts? Torts का क्या मतलब होता है? Civil wrong. ठीक है, so certain things are there which are fixed by the civil law of the country. तो उसके अंदर आप कुछ भी गलत करते हो, किसी की प्रॉपर्टी में घुस जाना without their permission, that's a civil wrong. ठीक है, या रोड है, रोड पे कुछ आपने छेड़खानी कर दी, आपने गड्ढे खोद दिए, all this without any reason, all this is a civil wrong. So minority when is being pleaded, if as a part of contract, then minor will not be liable. But if there is no contract in general, if some civil wrong is done, then the minors are liable. So they are liable for civil wrongs until and unless such civil wrong involves a breach of contract. We'll understand it through two case laws. This is the first case law, Jennings versus Runlal, wherein the minor hired a mare, a female horse, and injured her. ठीक है, कैसे इंजरी हुई? क्योंकि उन्होंने बहुत ज्यादा राइड कर लिया उसको, जितनी कैपेसिटी थी उस मेयर की उससे ज्यादा उसको राइड कर लिया, ड्यू टू विच दिस female horse got hurt, got injured. Now when the case was filed, the court said that the minor cannot be held liable for the tort of negligence because it is like equivalent to making this minor liable for the breach of contract. क्योंकि अंडर द कॉन्ट्रैक्ट आपने उसको हॉर्स दिया और उस हॉर्स को उसने इंजर कर दिया विद इन दिस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. So there is a negligence on the minor's part which is a civil wrong, but क्योंकि ये कॉन्ट्रैक्ट का पार्ट है इसलिए हम माइनर को स्यू नहीं कर सकते हैं, माइनर को लाइबल नहीं होल्ड कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज इट विल बी लाइक होल्डिंग हिम लाइबल फॉर द ब्रीच ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट विच इज नॉट अलाउड. नाउ दिस इज अनदर केस लॉ, Bernard versus Haggis. In Bernard versus Haggis, what happened? Again, minor hired a mare for riding, fine, under the specific instructions not to make it jump. So when the contract was entered into, this minor was given the mare and was told कि आप उसको jump मत करवाना, ठीक है, क्योंकि उससे उसको इंजरी हो सकती है. अब माइनर ने क्या किया, इस मेयर को आगे अपने एक और फ्रेंड को दे दिया, ठीक है. अब जब उन्होंने अपने फ्रेंड को दिया, उसको नहीं बताया कि जंप मत करवाना, और उस फ्रेंड ने उसको जंप करवा दिया, ड्यू टू विच इट गॉट इंजर्ड एंड इट डाइड. द मेयर डाइड. Herein the court held that the minor is liable in tort. Minor is liable for the civil wrong and should pay the damages. Why? Because herein what has led to the death of the mare? Because this minor lent it out to his friend, which was not a part of contract. There has been no contract over here. उसने सिर्फ अपने friend को दे दिया, horse, lent out कर दिया, which was not allowed in the contract. तो contract से कहीं लेना देना था ही नहीं. अगर minor ने खुद ही उसको jump करवाया होता, that would have been a breach of contract. वहां पर आप उसको लाइबल होल्ड नहीं कर सकते थे क्योंकि वो इंडियन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एक्ट के अंडर आ जाता. यहाँ पर इट इज सेपरेट फ्रॉम कॉन्ट्रैक्ट. ही हैज लेंट आउट, he has done an unauthorized lending out of the mare which is outside of a contract, and due to that unauthorized lending out, renting out, it has led to the death of that mare. So in this case the minor was held liable for the torts, for the civil wrong. Next is specific performance. The contract that has been entered into by the guardian of the minor can be specifically enforced if the contract is within the guardian's authority and is for the benefit of the minor, right? If it is not for the benefit of the minor, otherwise the specific performance cannot be enforced. There is this case law of Saroj versus Sundar Singh, which was a recent case of 2013, which was decided in Supreme Court. It said that under the Hindu Majority and Guardianship Act of 1956, if the minor's property, immovable property, is being sold out, it cannot be done without court's permission, even if this is for minor's welfare. You know, earlier there have been case laws. One of the earlier case laws has been Subramaniam versus Sabbarao, wherein the minor's guardian transferred the minor's property, right, for paying out a debt of the minor. माइनर का कोई इनहेरिटेड डेट था, तो उसको पे बैक करने के लिए उसकी इनहेरिटेड जो प्रॉपर्टी थी उसको बेच दिया गया टू पे बैक दैट डेट. बट नाउ इन दिस रीसेंट केस ऑफ 2013 इट हैज बीन एस्टैब्लिश्ड कि अगर माइनर की कोई भी इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी यू आर सेलिंग आउट, इवन इफ इट इज फॉर द बेनिफिट ऑफ द माइनर, then first the permission of court has to be taken. Then only this step can be taken. So that is it for the agreement of the minors. Now we will move on to the second category of people who cannot enter into a contract, who are incompetent to contract, which is persons of unsound mind. And this I will continue in my next video.